How many times have you said, oh, we'll take that trip. We'll do that thing. Oh, yeah, you always think there's tomorrow. We always think there's more time. But what if there's not? We're not promised that. Our guest today is Nesha Pai. She is the owner of Pai CPA. She is a speaker. She is an author. She is a go-getter. And I invited her to come on the show today because she is recently coming off the heels of what was the worst year of her life. And that has really gotten her to think more about the do it now mindset. Don't wait for tomorrow because we're not promised that we have it. She was already living her life that way as a minority business owner, as a divorced woman. She wasn't waiting for a man to go on and do these things. She was living her life and a really big, full life until everything kind of came to a screeching halt for reasons that you're going to hear about in just a moment. So I thought Nesha was the perfect person to talk about getting things done because she was already living like that. And now she's just turbocharged to do that. And she wants the same for all of you. So I hope that you will enjoy this conversation with Nesha Pai. 3, 2, 1. Hi, I'm Colleen Odegaard. One day, I was an Emmy Award-winning television journalist, married to the love of my life, and had 2 beautiful children living under my roof. Then one day, I woke up to a life I didn't recognize, divorced, in a career transition, with my 2 boys grown and out of the house. I had to get really comfortable being alone really fast, or I was going to lose my shit. This podcast is about reinventing yourself in a new season of life, getting to know yourself again, and having more peace, more love, more levity. This is Wake Up to Your Life. All right, Nesha, thank you so much for saying yes.
Thank you for having me.
I believe you have an inspiring story, and I want you to share it with listeners of Wake Up to Your Life. So I'm glad you're here.
I'm honored. Thank you.
Of course. Okay, so I mentioned, when I introduced you that you are a successful entrepreneur, you have an accounting firm, and you've done so many things professionally. You're a speaker, you're an author, all of these things. You took this sabbatical to Paris. Why did you do that? Something you always wanted to do?
This was my 3rd year doing it. For a period of anywhere from 2 to 3 months. And Paris has always been in my heart since I was 16 years old and went for the first time with my French club trip. And I bought this big poster when I was 16. I hung up in my room and I said, I am going to go there one day and I'm going to do it right. I'm going to do it the way I want to, not like a high school kid. And, I was planning on going before COVID. And of course, COVID ruined those plans. So between life and COVID, it just happened to be 2022 was the first year that I actually did this. I went in 2021 and I dipped my toes for like a week. And I remember coming back on the plane and I was sobbing uncontrollably. And I was like, what is wrong with me? I just was in Paris for a week. And it was because I needed to go back. And so that's what I've been doing the last few years.
It's very cool. It's very cool. Okay, so this sort of do it now mindset that you want listeners to adopt. This isn't just some cute little thing you've come up with. You really are feeling this on the heels of what was one of the worst years or the worst year of your life. Yeah. Can you kind of set listeners up for what happened in that year that made it so difficult?
Yeah. So, on this sabbatical in 2024, I was gone for 3 months. And I already at that point felt like I had adopted this mindset of just do it, don't wait for somebody, do it. And I came back feeling energized and revived and full of creativity. And I had been home a week. And actually it was... I was in Kiowa Island, my son's favorite place, to celebrate his birthday. And we were there not even for 12 hours. And I remember being on the beach, reading a smutty book, an hour in, and I got a phone call that my baby sister had died suddenly of a heart attack. And as you know, that rocked my entire world. And it was a day before my son's 25th birthday, which made it even harder. And then I spent the rest of that summer picking up the pieces with my family and my parents. She was my parents' caretaker. And so I'd spent the summer doing that. And at the end of the summer, right when I was getting ready to come back to Charlotte to grieve on my own and to breathe, I get the news, a phone call, and on the other end, I'm told, you have breast cancer. So I spent the rest of the year dealing with that. And so it was two smacks in the face back to back of life is too short.
How is your health today?
Thankfully, I rang the bell on December 23rd of 2024. I was ready to get out of that year. And I just had my first scan, and I am clear.
Thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God. I'm so happy to hear that.
you.
I'm happy to hear that. So, you're losing your younger sister just like that, out of the blue.
Out of the blue.
Getting diagnosed with breast cancer. It does, I'm sure, as you mentioned, shake up your approach to time very differently.
Yes.
You start to become very familiar with mortality and think about it.
Yes.
And realize, oh, if I want to do some shit, I better go do it now.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we're not promised. We're not promised the next moment as evidence in my own life and what happened to my sister. And even just with me, like I have no history of breast cancer in my family or cancer for that matter. And as we know, just even by the news, like anything can happen at any time to any of us. I had already been living that motto and not realizing it. The do it now, don't settle motto. And this just amplified it for me.
I do know that you were living that way. And I haven't pointed this out yet, but you're a single person and you wanted to go to Paris. You wanted to, go for stretches of 2 to 3 months at a time. And you did this and you did it by yourself. And I say that because I know there are people listening who think like, oh, well, oh God, I could never do that. You were scared the first time you went to Paris by yourself.
Yeah.
For just a week.
Right. And I had not even taken French since I was 16, right? So I didn't even know the language. But we have so many resources available to us today that, we have cell phones. We have all these different things that are at our hands. And it's like, it makes it easier as a woman to solo travel. And so, yes, at first I was nervous, but then I was fine. I was like, oh, this is not bad. This is great.
Here I am doing it.
Yeah.
And I love that you didn't wait for the guy.
Right.
You've purchased homes, you've done all these things, taken these trips, living a life that is full for you, not waiting to get married or have a partner to do these things.
Yes. And, I've been divorced now for 20 years. Gosh, 20 years. And so I've been single longer than I've been in a relationship of any kind. And I realized in my 20s, before I got married, that I was that girl. That I was like, I gotta wait. I should wait to buy the house. I should wait to go on the international trip. I should wait. And what I realized is even when I did wait, it didn't bring me the fulfillment that I experience now doing it on my own.
When you talk about doing it now, what is it that if you were speaking to a crowd of people right now who are thinking, well, I want to take a trip, but I don't have the money, or I want to buy a house, or my life will be good when I have kids. My life will be good when I get married. My life will be good when I get divorced. My life will be good when I get that promotion. All these things. They're waiting to be happy. They're procrastinating or putting that off to some ideal that they have of things will be right when X happens. What would you say to those people?
I would say that's a myth, right? Number one, that's a myth because X will never happen. There's never a right time to do anything. You're never going to have enough money to do anything. And it's like, what do you have right now that can lend towards that dream? Even if it's, let's talk about money since I'm a CPA. All right, what I did was I started a vacation Paris bank account and I'd start socking money away. Until I saved up for a couple of years to take my first big trip. And then I got an idea of what a budget was for this trip that I wanted to take on the way that I wanted to do it. And so, yeah, start it now. Even if you don't do the thing now, take steps towards it. Take the steps towards it, because there's never going to be a right time. Never.
But I love you saying that too, that you had a bank account where you socked away money and it was specifically for this trip and it took a
Yes.
few years. Because I think it's easy for people to say, oh, well, I just don't have the money for that. Well, you wouldn't have either necessarily had
Correct.
you not put it aside, decided this is a goal I have.
Yes.
I'm going to start saving now
Yes.
so that I can go all out with this trip too.
Right.
And do it, as you mentioned, the way you wanted to do it, to
Yes.
eat in the restaurants where you wanted
Right.
to eat, to stay in the kinds of hotels you wanted to stay in.
Yes. And I still could have done this on a college budget and stayed in hostels and eaten at, 1-star restaurants. Right. I could have done it if I wanted to and gone on less of a budget. So my point is you can do it. You can. It's just a matter of what your priorities are and what you're saving towards. Now, I had already put my son through college. I had a kid that I raised to adulthood. Could I have done this when he was in college or when I was building my business as a new entrepreneur? Absolutely not. But I knew it was a dream, and I knew it was something that I was going to work towards.
Okay. Also, when it comes to
Yeah.
do it now, what other things do you think get in the way for people? Why they're not doing whatever the thing is?
Because they think they have tomorrow. That's plain and simple. We all think that we have tomorrow. And, I remember one of the last memories I have of my sister is we're standing at the flagship Louis Vuitton store on the Champs-Élysées. And we're looking at they have books. And we're looking at the books, and a book of each city and of Louis V. And she picks out the Paris book and she says, I'm going to get this just to have something. And she's like, one day I'll get a bag. And that never happened. And it's a reminder to me that we don't necessarily have one day. And I think people just think autopilot, right? They're going on autopilot day in, day out. They think, oh, this is my life and I'm on a hamster wheel and I'm going to have one day. And you may not have one day.
How old was your sister when she died?
She was 45. Mm-hmm. And 2 young kids. She had just started this beautiful business. And, what I would tell people and your listeners is that, we don't have one day. You could live up to 100 years old, but none of us know that, right? And I just think people need to put an urgency on the things that matter to them and the dreams that they want to accomplish.
I do too. And in a second, I would like you to break down how people can do that. But what you're talking about makes me think of a very Buddhist philosophy, which is to really get familiar with death, to cozy up with it, to think about it, to know that this body is aging. This body will one day no longer be here.
Right.
That we're all dying. And it's not to sound morbid or macabre, but I do think knowing that and intentionally thinking that does help one to go, oh, well, I better get to living then, because I don't know if I have tomorrow. And here's the thing. We all know this. We all hear these stories of, oh my gosh, the neighbor down the street, he dropped dead of a heart attack. He was only 50 years old.
Right.
He has teenage kids.
We all know the story.
We all have these stories, right? We hear these stories and we think, oh my gosh, yeah, life is short. And then we get back on the hamster wheel and nothing's any different. And we're not prioritizing the things that we say really mean something to us.
Right. And it's interesting, Colleen, I read an article about the what's below the millennials, the Gen Zs. I don't know. They're taking these
people.
mini retirements because they have a point. When I was in France, I noticed a lot of elderly people and they were having a hard time getting around. And I thought, why do I want to wait until I'm 70 or 80 years old when I probably just want to be a homebody at that point, right? So why are you waiting? Do it while you are healthy and you are young. And whatever it is that you can do it.
I know. I love that. And I know there are people who are, you might be watching us on YouTube or you're listening and you're thinking, well, I can't get the time off work. It must be nice if you own your own business and you can do whatever you want. Okay, maybe you can't take 3 months off to go to Paris, but what is the smaller dream? What is the,
Right.
Can you go away for a weekend? Somewhere
Right.
that's driving distance, you probably can do that. It doesn't have to be grandiose,
No.
but these little micro moments of happiness or even working toward something feels good.
Yeah.
You feel
Yeah.
proud of yourself if you know I have been intentionally socking away money for that trip to Italy, and that feels good because I'm valuing myself and my dreams.
Right. Right. That's taking action. And that's one of the things I tell people is like take small action steps every day, every week, whatever. I have a vision board, right? And on my vision board, I have these things that I want to accomplish and do in my life. And if neurologically, it is said that if it is in your vision or you write it down, it's something that will stay in the forefront of your brain.
There's some truth. I mean, I believe that. I do know that if you write things down, they're more likely to.
A visualization type of thing.
Because you're thinking about it and you go, oh, yeah, that's right. I said I wanted to take this trip. Okay, so talk about some of your other steps. So for anyone who's hearing us right now and thinks, okay, well, travel's not my thing, but I do want to write a book. I want to start a podcast.
Yeah.
I want to learn Spanish. I want to play pickleball. I would like to date somebody. I would like to, get in the best shape of my life. Whatever the thing is that they think is going to do it for them, or it's something they say they value and they want. What's the first place to start, in your opinion?
I always say write down the steps or the things that you need to do to get there. Right. Is it take a class? Is it, okay, if you want to start a business, do you go and set up an LLC with your Secretary of State? What is the thing? And then go do one step towards it that will keep you moving forward. Because I think people just don't take that first step.
Because they get lost in overwhelm.
Yes.
I just know that that's what happens with people. You get lost in overwhelm of like, well, I don't even know where to start. I mean, I don't, how are these other people doing it? I mean, I start a business. I've never had a business before. Everything is figure out or outable, as Marie Forleo
that's
says.
right,
But it's
right.
true. It really
Yes.
is. I mean, these other people who are doing these things that you admire or have things that you want to have, or they had to figure it out too.
Correct. There's no rule book or steps book or, everyone, an entrepreneur, anyone traveling, everyone figures it out as they go along. Everyone. And I feel like there's so many more resources in the world today because of the internet that everything is within our reach. Mm-hmm. So I don't look at excuses. It's like take the first step. It doesn't have to be perfect.
No. Not at all, right?
Yeah.
Don't let perfect get in the way of good enough. Yeah, one small step. Okay, what about when it comes to procrastination? That's another thing. People get lost in that and they just keep procrastinating.
This to me tells me that you don't want it bad enough. It must not be something that you want bad enough. And I could be wrong in saying that, but I know people in my own life who procrastinate. And I say, is it just something that you don't want bad enough? That's okay. That's okay. Maybe you just don't want that bad enough. I think procrastination is very much a internal thing, right? And if that's, I'm of the camp of if I want it bad enough, I'm gonna figure out how to do it. I've never been a procrastinator, I should say, unless it's like cleaning my house.
Right.
But if it's a dream and I want it bad enough. And I always say to people, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? Because if you're procrastinating, you may not want it bad enough.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of times too, people might have the wrong dream. And what I mean by that is they're saying their dream is something that sounds good to other people. Like the thing you think you're supposed to say. Well, I'd like to travel the world. And maybe you don't give a shit about that really.
Exactly.
Maybe you don't really care about that. Or you say, oh, I would, I want to have a business. Maybe you really don't. Maybe you like working at a company and you just like the structure of that.
That's right.
Which is totally fine. So I think it comes back to really getting in touch with
what sets your soul on fire. What sets your soul on fire?
Yes. Which again is a hard question. What sets your soul on fire?
Oh gosh, I'm a life liver, so I love travel, that meeting new people, new cultures, being at the ocean, creating in my business, speaking, podcasting, writing my book, like creating things that impact the world, right? Those things light me up. And I think everybody has something. They just have to figure out what it is.
So taking the time to do that.
Yeah. Some soul searching.
What do you think is another way to get people to have more of that urgency? And when I say urgency, I don't mean to stress it in one out or make them frantic. Like, I've got to go do this thing right this minute. Because I know you've got a lot of stuff going on. I know that. But to really decide, no, this is the thing that is going to happen this year. Like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, I say no a lot so that I can say yes to my dream. So I say no, to parties, going out. Maybe on Friday nights, I might be sitting there writing my book, a chapter, a week, because I want to write a book, or planning my trip to Paris or Italy or wherever on a Friday night instead of going out with my friends. Saying no to the things that will get you. Say no to the things that won't get you to your dream, right? And say yes to the things that will. So if that means carving out time and foregoing the fun party, then that's what you got to do.
Mm-hmm. Whenever I hear people say, I don't have time, and then I hear them say, I just binge watched Leanne on Netflix. I'm like, you got time, sister. You got
Speaking
time.
Speaking of which, Hunting Wives, I don't know if you watched that, but
I have not watched that. Have you binged the whole thing?
I binged it, and I'm not a huge. It takes really, really good storylines for me to binge, and it was so bad, it was that good.
That's okay. That's what I've heard from some of my
it
friends.
Was
they
so
said
bad,
it was so bad.
Good. But yeah, I mean, I did. I binged that in like a whole Sunday, and I thought this is what people do. It's wasted time. But I think you should binge every now and then. That's healthy. But yeah, you're right. There is time. We all have the same amount of time in a day. What are you prioritizing?
That's why when you learn how to say no, and you may have to turn down things that sound really fun.
Sure.
Things that you even want to do. But if you know, no, I've been saying I'm going to write and I haven't put pen to paper or put my butt in the chair and sat at the computer. I haven't done that. I'm going to say no to this thing on Friday night because I'm going to spend an hour and a half doing this.
Right.
Yeah. So clarity.
Yes.
Nesha, how do you personally handle fear when it comes to making a bold decision or when you're really uncertain about something? How do you handle that?
I've gotten a lot of practice, I think, in this. And so it's become easier for me. But I go in thinking that we should always have a healthy amount of fear in doing something new. That's normal. That means we're human. And I do it scared anyway. We've heard that phrase, do it scared anyway. I do it scared anyway because I know that once I get through whatever this is, it's going to bring me so much joy or fulfillment. And it's worth the fear, the little bit of fear that I have going into it. So I talk myself, it's a mindset thing. I talk myself into like, okay, you're going to do this regardless, even though you're scared.
Yeah, I always say that, like, feel the fear, do it anyway.
Yes.
It's okay. It's another thing you haven't done before. You don't have a lot of experience with it, and you're going to do it.
Right.
Yeah, just go do it.
It's part of our growth, I think, right? To do things scared. It causes growth every time we do something unfamiliar.
Yeah, and that's the thing I think it is too. It's like, do you have, and I hate, it sounds so cliche, but do you have a growth mindset? But really, do you? Because if you do, then you're going to be willing to fail because stuff is going to go wrong all the time. It's totally okay. And often,
and it's not cliche. It's like, it's so true because I know so many people in my sphere who are happy in their comfort zone and their lives are static. They're in the same home. They don't travel. They, same job, same clothes, same furniture, like same. And to me, I mean, that's fine if they're happy like that. But to me, that's not life. That's not worth living on this earth for, to be in our comfort zone.
I agree.
Yeah.
And it's so easy there because it's so comfy in the comfort zone. It's so easy to stay there, but and think, well, I'm happy. I'm fine. But we're supposed to push ourselves a little bit, right? We're supposed to grow. We're supposed to stretch ourselves. We're supposed to try some different things. If you want to live a life with any impact or meaning, I think we do have to stretch ourselves into those places, into those little corners and crevices that are kind of scary and dark. And I don't know what's around that corner. Yeah, go there and find out.
And I would imagine as human beings, we'd all want to live with impact and meaning. I would imagine that.
I would too. I would hope
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we're here for, we
Yeah.
know we're not just here to
just live.
watch Hunting Wives.
Right.
We're not just here for that.
Right.
We're here for so much
Right.
more.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And Nesha, while I have you here, I want to ask you money questions again too. When it comes to if somebody's dream, the thing that they're thinking about a lot, but they're not doing it because they say money is the impediment. Any advice you can give there? I'm like you mentioned for your Paris trip to do it the way you wanted to do it, you knew you had to start saving. So maybe it is that little nest egg. It is if you want to start a side business, making sure you can afford to do that or quit your full-time gig to go all in on
Right.
this other thing. Like really get clear about the finances instead
Yeah.
of being afraid of them. That was me. I was afraid. I didn't want to look. I didn't want to know.
Right.
I didn't want to know. It was easier to not know or to let my ex-husband deal with finances because it was scary to me.
That is a really great point. And money is an impediment for everything. Money is the number one, right? In everything, in going for your dreams or not going for your dreams or being scared or whatever. And so I am a big proponent of know your finances, know them, and not only know them, but yes, I create money buckets. So I create one for vacation, emergency fund, and just start socking away. And I don't care if you're socking away, $10 a week. I don't care. That's something. And psychology is if people have access to the money, they're going to spend it. So when you start putting it into these money buckets and leaving them alone, you don't have access to it anymore, right? In your mind. And so you don't have that money anymore. And I think it's really discipline of starting to just sock it away. And it doesn't matter how long it takes you to sock away what you need. It's the fact that you're doing it.
Yeah, your dreams are worth
They're
that
worth it.
investment. They're
Yeah,
worth
they're
the
worth it.
time and the money and the priority of, putting them up there and making it a thing that you really want to do.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'll ask anybody, I'll say, do you know what your household budget is? Do you know what your average spend is monthly? And most people will have no idea. And I think start there. Know your money. Know where it's going. Know, between your mortgage and your groceries and your gas and all of those things, what is that costing you monthly? And then you can start from there at least.
That's good. That's good. What is on your vision board now? Or what is the next dream? What is the next goal? Or some of them?
Gosh, you know what? I'd love to find a life partner.
Yeah. Me too.
That's not one you could buy. Maybe you could. Maybe you could. I was like, the things that I can buy are easy, I just put away money for that. But the ones that you can't, those are the tough ones. But that would probably be my next big one. Yeah. Just continuing to do more of the same that I've been doing, that I've accomplished already. So
that's good. And I, if I may be so bold as to say, I think that's how you find your life partner, and I like that, you are doing things that are valuable to you. You're spending time with people you enjoy spending time with. You're going places you're interested in. It's just you doing those things and being in those elements. Anything that's expanding your life like that meets and introduces you to more people. And
Right.
you're not looking for a man necessarily,
Right.
but you're in these places and having these conversations and shining your light. That's kind of how it happens.
Yeah,
I think.
agree. I agree.
At least it better be, because that's that's my plan. That's my damn plan. That's all I got for you. Since neither one of us will do the dating apps ever again. I know you won't. Well, I mean,
Unless
we'll
they
see
have
never.
mail order husbands. I don't know. Do they have those?
If you're interested in going out with Nesha, let me know. I'm going to screen you. I got to make sure you're good enough for her. Nesha, thank you so much. Your book is called
you.
Overcoming Ordinary Obstacles.
Yes.
You recently celebrated the
5th anniversary.
5th anniversary
Yes,
of that book.
thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening to the Wake Up to Your Life podcast. I love connecting with you, so reach out to me on Instagram at Colleen_Odegaard. My podcast is also on YouTube now, so you can leave a comment on the podcast episode and tell me what resonated with you. You can subscribe to my channel at the link in our show notes. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next episode.